Well, hi, Tubers, hi, I'm back with 41 Years Mills and Boone, and trust me, no one to look at a book title when you think, read me. This is a book that has to be read. Oh, and I did. So, it's called Cupcakes and Killer Hills by Heidi, which is a great name, by the way. Right, I read the blurb. Ruby Delisantro never blushes, but after one glance from the infuriating Callum Westmore's bedroom eyes, she's flushed redder than a glacé cherry. Her body has the right idea for now. Then Callum's convertible has crashed into her life and nothing will ever be the same. Cupcake Baker Ruby has always been in the driving seat when it comes to relationships, but something tells her that Callum sees straight through her soft salsa moves and sappy one-liners to the soft as buttercream heart beneath. Ruby's in danger of losing control, and worse still, of liking it. So it starts off with Ruby's in her car, okay, and she's basically checking her makeup, and there's an accident, okay. So it's a weird ass meet cute, as you do. And the way Ruby is described is she's a cupcake baker. She's 6 pounds overweight, which in Mills and Boone world, being 6 pounds overweight means you have curves, okay, by having 6 pounds. And obviously she's Italian, so this book is going for the salsy, sultry Italian look, and you know how it is, okay. Right. Right, it's been here. This is straight after. This is page 8, after the accident. The good news was Ruby Delisantro loved to flirt, and she was remarkably good at it. She adored the spark and sizzle of sexual attraction, the tantalising tension of verbal foreplay, and a chance to flirt when someone like this good looking to present herself every day. Not only that, but the figure-hugging dress she picked up in Camden Market last week turned her extra weight that had been carrying around since she was 17 into a major asset, 6 pounds overweight. Right. Here you go. So, yes. So she's going for this sultry look, okay? And her dress is red, so I'm going with this Jessica Rabbit kind of vibe about her, okay? Sultry look. And in fact, she's in Camden Market. So the thing is, in Camden Market, in London, when they mention Camden, you're supposed to think of some of the kids being hip because they go to Camden Market. I bought this in Camden Market, okay, because Camden Market is so cool. Actually, Camden's pretty cool, okay, but Camden Market, it's, I don't know, in the tourist area, but Camden's insane, by the way. Camden is insane. So, I'm saying this as a Londoner. But anyway, get the, but then Ruby goes into full flirt mode. Here you go. Right, oh god. Okay. I don't do rules, she purred, pointing a cord-tipped nail at the centre of his chest. A muscle in his jaw clenched and power surged for her. It makes life so dull, don't you think? She lifted her finger, satisfied she had won, only to gasp when his hand shot out and long fingers clamped on her wrist. He put off his sunglasses and she shivered involuntarily, stunned by the deep voiced green of his irises. Right. Sounds like you need more than just driving lessons, he murmured, the emerald stare so penetrating her fine muscles turned to mush. Oh yeah, look at me. I'm sultry. I'm a sultry Italian woman, and such a mush in a guy's arms. Yeah, right. These two are just flirting. Honestly, okay, this is like a sexual conversation after, hey, someone could mysteriously hurt, okay, due to the accident, but right. But they change details, and then Ruby goes to her job as a baker, and she bakes the best cupcakes in not just London, not just Britain, but the world, okay, which is just orgasmic, okay. And then there's more back here about Callum Westmore, okay, right, because actually called the company and got the address because her colleague Ella thought that they were dating, okay, right. Ruby cursed softly under her breath, so at least she had a name now. Callum Westmore. Sounded like the name for a 12th century Scottish warlord, which fitted down to a T. Commanding, completely uncompromising, and defiantly masculine, and prepared to swoop down and carry off any female caught his fancy, whether she wanted him to or not. I hope you offered it like a prequel series again of Callum Westmore, the Scottish warlord, because I read that in a heartbeat. The vision of he at his fanciful, romantic, and utterly un-PC image stunned Ruby for a moment. Callum Westmore was about as far from her ideal date as possible to get. She should have found his pushy behaviour exceptionally galling, for it was a heart kicking giddly in her chest at the prospect of seeing him again. Why is that? Because I'm in control of this relationship, and now apparently not. But then Callum shows up, and they decide to go out. I don't know, for drinks. And of course they go salsa dancing. Okay? Of course. Right. And so much, okay, I don't know, is because so much of this case in Ruby's head, obviously. And she's just, she just, she just wants him, pretty much. I don't know, in her head, okay, that she thinks she's Jessica Rabbit, okay, but Jessica was actually awesome, okay, or someone like Angela Lawson, who's absolutely fantastic, and you watch her show, and the way she comes across is part of her brand, if you will. Nigella Lawson, great food, okay, but she's mush, she's putty, okay, she is. She's not this big kind of femme fatale, sexy slime, Veronica Lake over her eyes. That's all about Nadia because now my hair's short. Okay? She is mush. There you go. Sparring with this man had Ella Danger that only made it more irresistible, which was definitely a bad thing, but he's finding it hard to care. She had a monumental crappy day, and he was partially responsible. It seemed only reasonable she should allow herself a moment to flirt with him as a consolation. Right. She wasn't big on rules and regulations, as long as she wasn't hurting anyone. What was the harm in bending them a bit? As long as she had been drawn to men with the same free and easy attitude. Yeah, because... Right. And this bit here, okay, Ruby in her own head, femme fatale, here you go. As Ruby went to get her shoes, they agreed to go out together and repair her makeup, she felt a tiny stab of guilt. Normally she insisted on going Dutch on the first date, so the guy didn't get to the wrong idea, and making a man pay for his own humiliation seemed a bit mean. Making a man pay for his own humiliation seemed a bit mean. Yeah, here you go. But they go salsa dancing and they have this fantastic time, okay? But then you find out Ruby, a femme fatale, sexy siren, with the figgy hugging dress she wore in Camden Town. Now this bit surprised me, okay, first, because you think a woman like this, okay, would be, she acts like she's very, very free with her sexuality, which is fine. You do you in life. You do you. But the fact is, okay, you think, okay, that she's, she's fun, she's loving, she's dated, she's had her heart broken, but she's still, she's still passionate and has energy. She'd never had a one-night stand before, had always thought the concept hugely highly overrated. Why would you want to share that kind of intimacy with a man you don't know? And who didn't know you? Besides the glorious anonymity of a one night of passion had a giddy feel that was impossible to resist. And if you're going to have a one night stand, who better to have it with someone who had the same sex appeal as Casanova and about half as much as depth. She's very, very judgmental when it comes to men. Okay, right. But then it's page 56, okay? They've gone back to hers, they're having fantastic sex. Right. Right. No man had ever seduced her before with such ease or efficiency, and no man ever made her see stars. Forget stars, she's seen a whole constellation. They've been sent soaring through the Milky Way. While she'd been in his bed, she hadn't been able to put up a whole sequence of events, any kind of perspective. But now on the cold light of day, she could see that despite all her best laid plans, she'd better put up a token protest last night. I gotta be in the driving seat in this relationship. But she's never really had what you call a relationship. She's never been anything like really, really long term. I think this whole kind of, I think she spent her life playing up to the stereotypes so much, and she actually seems to believe it when it's not. Okay, and the fact is the case, she believes again that Callum is a humper and dumper kind of guy as well, which is obviously wrong. Okay, and then it winds up, okay, with them after a night of fantastic seeing stars, seeing the Milky Way, riding through the galaxy. They actually just go out for the day. Here you go. This bit here, okay? Alright. Well, they were steering clear of everything too personal. They covered everything from the inequalities of the British justice system to the recipe of the perfect cupcake. Callum was an articulate and enthusiastic conversationalist. His mind worked in a brilliant, logical way, completely unlike her own, with a tendency to drift off in all sorts of weird and wonderful directions. Despite everything, never patronised her, not even a little. And that had been the biggest surprise of all. Yeah, so she likes this guy. They kind of rushed everything. They've rushed everything so far. Okay? But in Ruby's mind, okay, it's all about a power balance. Yeah, Callum's point of view as well is in his own relationships, he's used to the power dynamic. He's used to being in control. Then he meets Ruby, and they seem to be fighting for control. But so thinking, if you guys just calm down, at this point they're so intense and passionate. You feel like you throw some cold water on them to get them to calm down. They have the makings of a perfect relationship. They're just rushing everything. Right. This bit here, once again, Ruby's head again. She's on a new plan as a physical awareness of him built. Sorry, she's on a new plan as a physical awareness of him built. That's a weird line. It was simple, really. This time she would seduce him and redress the balance of power between them. But then they went their separate ways. So she's like, well, I'm going to walk away from you. I'm going to have the power to walk away from you. And it's like, why are you being so stupid, Ruby? Right. But then, of course, they get a phone call, and it's Callum's sister, Maddie, who basically is berating him. Why aren't you come up to Cornwall, which is several hours away? Because it's your niece's birthday. And, right, and Ruby overhears this, and she's mad. It's kind of like, would you rather be with me instead of being with your niece for the weekend? What's wrong with you, kind of stuff? Right. Right. You brushed it off. This is Ruby. I thought better of you than that, but I can see I was wrong. Clearly, it was more convenient for you to spend a weekend seducing some woman you've only just met than keeping the promise you made to your sister. That's not something I want to be a party to. Right. And Callum's like, no, actually, I'm actually going to go now. But she's like, oh, power dynamic time. It's time for the power dynamic. Oh, now I can assert my power by saying I don't want to be with someone who treats a child like that. And he's like, no, I'm going. I'm actually going to go now. Pack a suitcase and go. And apologise for not being there because I kind of slipped my mind. I was attracted by being with you. But then, power balance time. Callum's like, why don't you come with me? Come with me to meet my family. This is after like 2 days of knowing each other. And it's time to meet the family. Drive with him up to Cornwall. My God, this guy could be a serial killer. Okay? Right. But then you find out, okay, that Ruby's dark and twisted past, okay, is her father owned a restaurant, her mother passed away. Then they found out that her brother Nick wasn't her father's. He's product of an affair, and Nick just pushed away, okay, even though the mum, Ruby's mum, wasn't particularly that amazing. Um, and then when she died, it was like a deathbed confession. And Nick, her brother, just walked away from the family and said, well, that's your father, not mine. And then they wound up being a screenwriter in America, which I would love to see that picked up in a book. Okay? Right. Yeah, like, he's a scriptwriter in Hollywood. I would love to see that picked up on. That'd be great. I'm actually going to do some research to see if it is and try to find that book. So, and this was after only knowing each other a couple of days in Callum's sister's house, and I opened up, okay, about their feelings, about why they are the way they are. And yes, it's issues, okay? Essentially, they do have a lot in common on an emotional level. You see, Nick's, Ruby's mother had an affair, which was a product of her brother Nick, who's now off the page, okay? Whereas Callum's father had mistresses, okay, and he used to take Callum to judo, not take him to judo, just park outside a car, in the car, leave Charlie in the car, a couple of hours, okay, be with his mistress, instead of being at judo. Judo didn't exist. So, hey, not cool parents, but it kind of shows on the emotional level how much they do have in common. They kind of get each other. So this whole thing of the power dynamic is actually ridiculous. Hey, but hey, you did them. Right. Right. The tiny glimpse you got last night of the man beneath the confident, charismatic charmer had touched her deeply. Her heart had gone out to the vulnerable little boy, thought to keep such a hidden secret for so long. She wanted to reach out to him, to somehow make it right, to break through the cast iron control that she now suspected was a result of a deeply insecure childhood. Right. But when they made love to her with a raw passion that just consumed them both, or full blissful moments of afterglow, she deluded herself into believing that it had been more than just sex. Right, right. You see what I mean? This, once again, the power thing. They seem to just rush this, to calm down a little bit. It shows how great they would be. Okay? Right. But the thing is, Callum is just kind of freaking out, okay? Because this is a bit of an emotional thing for him. In the last couple of days, he's talking about, okay, about his father. Had something up to him, had fantastic sex, and kind of learned a lot about himself and about his family, and confessed to his sister, who didn't know about the father. So he's feeling very, very kind of emotionally raw. But here's the here. The only way to stop this madness was to let her go. As the powerful sports car ate up the miles, bringing him closer and closer to London, he could literally feel his resolve ebbing away, like water from a leaky dam, until the only barrier that was left was pride. He couldn't ask her to continue their affair because it would give her too much power over him, and she had far too much already. If she asked him first, or if given an indicator that she wanted him as much as he wanted her, then he'd be able to set the terms, and risk taking her back into his bed for a little while longer. What is wrong with these people? What is with the power plays between the two? Oh, so I'm going to walk away unless Ruby doesn't want me to, but that's set the boundaries in a relationship. They are ridiculous like this. It's kind of jarring as well. Okay. But the thing is, it all ends with them kind of going their separate ways, even though they don't really want to. And then after the accident with the car, which even I've forgotten about, Callum sends her a check for the damage and says, do you want to meet up again, kind of thing, if you want to hook up. And Ruby's enraged, go to his chambers, I can imagine it quite well, it's actually quite well described, and Betty says, I'm not your whore. Then they talk it out, and they get it all sorted, and Ruby decided that I want to have his man's child. Okay, right. Right. Cal and her, this is towards the end, okay, which is at Cal's nephew's christening, okay, right. Cal and her had only been living together for 7 months, and while the relationship had been more joy than ever imagined, it also brought with it quite a few challenges. They were both headstrong, confident people who weren't shy about speaking their minds, and didn't see eye to eye on everything. Far from it. Happy they're both also happy, committed enough to each other to do so, whenever it took to find a middle ground. Very long sentences in this book, right? And of course, mm-hmm. Right. But one thing I did like, okay, now I'm going to give some respect, is they're living together and they want kids and they're very, very happy. This is the first, I think, in a Mills and Boone novel that I've covered so far. Guess who proposes? Right, right. I've got a better idea, she says, sending him a saucy grin as she leans closer, tasting her own chocolate cupcakes and his eye on his breath. Why I save you the trouble? Winding her palms over broad shoulders, she gazed deeper into his emerald eyes. Callum Westmore, will you marry me and give me your babies? First time, kudos. No, I like that. I like the fact, okay, that even with the power play and dynamic, Ruby still takes control and says, hey, will you marry me? 21st century, more of that, okay? So, and he says yes, okay, and they get married and have lots of lovely babies. Live happy ever after. So I liked a lot about this book. I like the fact that it's well written. I like the fact that these two people work on their insecurities. What I don't like is just how rushed it felt. We go to this, okay, we go to the accident, then we go to literally the same day going for dinner and salsa, okay, then it's the next day we're going to my family's for the weekend, okay, for my niece's birthday, and the niece is absolutely lovely. And then we're going to split up, but then a couple of weeks later, okay, we're going to get back together, okay, because these two just can't communicate. It's all about a power struggle. I didn't like that. It got really, really annoying. Now, I think that in her head, I maybe Ruby was like, I'm trying to be the stereotype of the sultry Italian, you know how it is, okay? When deep down, all she just wanted, okay, was someone to love her, with no strings attached and no drama. And Cam's no different. But Ruby proposing, kudos, I like that. Anyway, Cupcakes and Killer Hills, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Okay, so Heidi Rice, you impressed me. And sign off everyone. Don't want to use a meals and spoon.